Hi, Pumpkin. Would you like to know how PulseChain is going to pump? I've got the answer for you. And what I'm going to tell you is going to shock you. I've only had one protein shake today. I've got to have my second. But before I do that, you are more important because you are my baby doll. Like, subscribe, bell button, all. It's all about the incentive token. I have an explanation here. We're going to go through it. It's juicy. It's speculation, but it all makes sense to me. It's not going to be perfect, but I want you to know, when I was in your shoes, I wanted somebody to please tell me how they saw the pieces of the puzzle fit. Why is it that they believed in a certain system? What I was looking for didn't actually exist. 99% of people just had complete blind faith. They just believed, and Bitcoin and Ethereum just went up high enough. But now that might not happen. We got to be smarter. Luckily for you, you got a baby doll, baby cake like me, who can kind of share some insight as to what's going on. Why will PulseChain pump? Why will Hex pump? Why will the ecosystem pump? I'm going to reveal to you. So, no expectations. Okay? So, I don't want anybody saying do this, do that to anybody else. All right? We can go to zero. We can go to infinity. Greg's plan for Hex and PulseChain. I'm starting to see how this thing might work out. Okay, so INC, incentive token, is the yield farm reward. You don't get paid in Hex, you don't get paid in Pulse, you don't get paid in PulseX. You get another token. It's all separate, and you can see it on the farm. Okay, so there's even been a farm released here. You can see these yield farms. So this is very common. What they'll do is they'll bind the very poop coin with a token. Okay, and what you don't know is usually the founders of all the DeFi, they own all the poop coin and they are slowly dumping. So they will try to suck everyone in with these high APRs and go, oh, come on here. And people just sit there and go, wow, if I'm in here for just 10 days, I'll make back all my money. But actually the founders are dumping on you. So that's normally what's going on. But the other teams and communities don't have our treasury. So let me continue. So incentive token is going to be diluted to believers. That's what I believe. Personally, in my heart, I believe that's going to happen. Just like the Hex T-share. I've got a whole post made on this. Look at this. Incentive token. It's a mystery reward for PulseX yield farm. Okay. It's possible that holding more INC will collect higher yield later. So it's like a T-share system. So basically, if you demonstrate that you don't dump the token, you will get more of the share later on. And that's how you generate scarcity. This is exactly the Hex system. So people who refrain from dumping short term, they're the ones who get a bigger piece of the pie later. So here's the difference though. $670 million of stablecoin treasury belongs to an unknown entity, which may or may not be a duck. Okay, for PulseChain and PulseX sacrifice. We got $670 million. Also, we're going to have the PulseX and INC bonding. There is a buy and burn happening with all the fees. So there is bonding going up. So the buying part from the PulseX protocol, the bit of the fees, it's going to help drag it up and just give it a bit of boost here and there over time. Wouldn't this be fantastic to see all the volume play out? So this incentive token hasn't been confirmed. Maybe it has, but that's what I think is going to happen because it makes sense to me. You want to reward people who hold the longest in this, okay? Now I'm going to continue. So the INC is diluted to believers. This is important because they don't just run it out straight away. It's given out to people who don't hurt the system. So look at this. Over time, they're going to get most yield. What are they going to do? So I know this guy. This guy may or may not be named Ricardo Corazon. I believe in his mind, he's figured this out. And look at this. I've written here over time. So the incentive token people will get most yield. They'll rotate that yield to Hex, Pulse, PulseX. You have every opportunity to rotate into a stable coin when you earn your incentive token in the yield. Okay, so you're in the yield, you're in these yield farms. I'll show you again, right? You're in these yield farms. You earn an incentive token. You can go and you can swap it for anything you want. I believe Richard himself, he has generated enough demand and he sees enough demand in crypto, especially in the bull market, because we may or may not have time this launch. He sees the light. He says, well, there's going to be higher demand for these assets, not stable coins. So it's more than likely the people who receive this INC, they're not going to be clicking into DAI. They don't want like $100 in DAI. and I know this from what I do, right? I want, instead of, like, if you earn 5 INC, I want 4,000 hex, because I can dream about hex being $1. I don't want your $91 now. It's nothing. Doesn't even get you a lap dance these days. But $4,000, now we're cooking. You can buy so many fluffy slippers with this. Wow. You can have one pair for every day of the week. That's the magic here. That's actually, it's speculation, okay? Because now you're taking a punt, but you got to really believe if you generate enough demand in your community, if you do the right marketing and everybody values it, they will continue to choose the option that rewards them long term. The Hex ecosystem believers done the same thing, okay? They have stake long term. This is the same thing. So would you rather take $100 now or an imaginary internet Ponzi token that may be worth, 20, 30x higher in the future? I'd rather my imaginary internet Ponzi tokens any day of the week, because it's better than the government's imaginary internet Ponzi token. I don't want that die. So this is where the magic is. So none of these have specific formulas. You can't make a formula in this. No one can really repeat this. You got to get everything right. Okay. So look at this next part. The incentive token is backed by a $670 million treasury. We tried, so history lesson. In 2020, we had the DeFi season. It was a renaissance. And everyone tried to create all these DeFi protocols, handing out yield farms. But unfortunately, what we discovered was that you can't game theory people to buy things long term. Most people are short-term trash speculators. That's the truth. Only a very few select of us have a peanut brain like me, which may or may not be mashed, barely working, a couple of sprinkles of salt, and we will say, you know what? Screw it. We're holding. We're going to keep holding on, darling. Only a very few of us do that. So what happened was a lot of the coins went to zero because you couldn't game theory enough people to hold. You can't do that. So this is where this sacrifice part came from, right? So now you know, right? He learned. So you got to back the incentive token with a treasury. And this came from the PulseChain and PulseX sacrifice. There was more money theoretically raised, but it was in Hex. And Hex doesn't get dumped. So this is actually stablecoin money. So this is what I count. This is the usable, disposable money, $670 million. There is no word about what it may or may not do. There are no expectations. All of this is guessing. If you're a nice guy or girl, if you're a believer, if you've done your homework, if you don't mind any of this going to zero, we may get rewarded. That's the game, all right? So effectively, look at this. Effectively, this treasury will pump all our bags through the mechanism of the believers. As I mentioned here, the INC people, okay, they are getting most of the INC over time. So the yield is like even between the non-believers and the believers. But over time, it gets shifted. Okay, so there's INC that's stored up here. INC, okay, it's going to everyone, You have, like, I'm going to go tick, cross, 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 tick. It's going to, ticks are people who are believers. Crosses are non-believers, okay? But then over time, right, so after like a year, this person is not going to get anything. His yield's going to be garbage. The most, it's going to be like so lower. So instead of him earning like, maybe 15% APR, it's going to go down to like 12% for him. And this person who was earning 15%, he's now going to earn like 17%. You see that? So it's 12 now and now 17 now, but they started both at like, 15 or whatever. So when you look at it like this, you say, oh, I see what's happening over time. The people who never dump get more and more big rewards at the very end. But yes, that's most likely what this man who may or may not be a duck, he's his big beak, his cute little ducky, wee, right, little ducky. That's what I think is happening because this makes the most sense. You look at game theory, what you should do is reward the people who aren't hurting the system. So yes, if you come in for the short-term attention, he's like, hey, I bought your attention now. If you demonstrate that you don't dump, you're going to be around for the long term. You deserve the bigger reward. Remember from Metcalfe's law, we'll get a higher valuation with more people. So when we have like 200,000 people in Hex now, we got like maybe 200,000 people in PulseX. If that grows to 1 million and you didn't dump along that way, well, you kind of earned your right to dump. You've waited the whole time, okay? You've demonstrated you're a long-term believer. So this INC might be the magic source. But look, you can't go out there and just emulate this. You need this treasury, all right? You can't just go and, hey, I'm going to make a game theory. And some people always try to do this. This happens every single cycle. People try to do the reflect tokens. They try to do, let's do a bit of minting. You need actual real stable coins. You need this, okay? You basically need a basket of fruit and yummy sweet chocolates for everybody to look at and be able to look at it and say, hey, I'm going to give this up. That's what you need. And this is how you buy everyone's attention. Because for long-term believers, maybe there's only like 10% of us, okay? Most people coming in are 90%. They're actually short-term. They're not going to make it. But everybody who watches my channel, like, subscribe, bell button, you are going to make it. You understand. How many times you heard me say, forget 2022, forget 2023, forget 2024. We're partying in 2025 for literally about 60 to 90 days. Then I'm going to have to tell everyone, sorry, party's ending sooner or later. You better get out before 95%. That's the game we're playing. I hope you have a very straight back, by the way. I have not hunched all day today. So this treasury, pumping our bags, this is an alternative, okay? I have explained down below. So note, all right, for you. So instead of market buying our bags with $670 million, this treasury, right, it acts as a fountain of youth for everybody to drink. You're drinking that beautiful 3 ice cube water because it's been running off the mountains. It's beautiful. It's fresh, okay? Now, the yield will stretch out over time. You know, this man, very smart. He looked at Bitcoin's yield. Bitcoin's yield was like 40 to 50% in the first year. It was actually 100%, and then it dropped to 50%, and then 25, etc. That's how the hex yield started, right? That's why, as well, you might see the PulseChain validator yields. You're like, wow, they're a bit high. Well, Ethereum in its first year was 16%. So now you know why Ricardo, he looks at what works and he says, I'm going to grab that. Me and you, we're outsiders. Yeah, we got little mushy peanut brains. Man, we got a bit of mashed potato in my head. I've got nothing rolling around in this skull. Nothing at all. Too mushy. So hollow. I'm knocking on it right now. There's literally nothing in here. It's literally an echo. Me and you see Ethereum and Bitcoin and we just see a number go up. But this guy, all right, he looks at it and he's like, okay, I've got to copy A, B, and C parameters. This is good. This is good. So me and you, we look at this. We've got no idea what's going on. I'm just letting you know. I have identified somebody who can see these things that work and put them in together. This is why I'm bullish, okay? So the difference is, so the yield's going to start off high, as I mentioned. The yield stretches out over time. So it's going to start off high and it's going to slowly drop down over time. You know, you've noticed this with Hex. Hex used to be short-term APY. It was like 18% at one point. And then 17, 16, it's down to 9% now. It's going lower and lower. It's approaching, so that even the Hex yield, right? The Hex yield is approaching the Bitcoin yield because he modeled it after Bitcoin. It's going to go down to 3.69%. That's what the short-term yield eventually is going to be. Slowly going down over time. The Ethereum yield used to be like 16%, man. And then it was dropping down over time. Okay? So now it's around 6% right now, but it's going down to like 3%. So this is what you do. You reward people in the system early with a high yield, and then you slowly taper it off as people come in, okay? So most other programs, as I'm explaining here, most other programs, they run too fast. If you remember in 2021, there were yield programs, different seasons, snow theme, layer 1 chain, no one cares about, avalanche. They're like, woo, red triangle, season. It was just 90 days, man, in and out, no one cares. It's like an embarrassment you got that red triangle now. It used to be like the coolest thing. I never had it because I got a fear of triangles, right? But when you look at all these other yield programs, it always comes down to one common reason. You know, they are timely, seasonal things. It makes you wonder. You're like, were they stupid or were they dumping? It makes you think. It makes you think. You know, maybe some will be a bit silly-willy. Maybe some were dumping, you know, but on average, you're going to have to be skeptical in this game, okay? You're working very hard for your money. I know you are. You've had a very tough time. I know it's been disgusting 20 months. Trust me, if I had enough money, I would market buy every single one of your bags, I promise you, and then I'd let you get out. I'd love to pump all your bags, I promise you, because we all deserve this after going these 20 months of absolute disgusting scam, psyops, price going down. Makes me very disgusted with this industry, how much price has gone down compared to how much it went up in the future, okay? So hopefully, we're going to make it. That's why I went overtime, 18 hours a day, okay? So vultures come and go. That's why the yields go down. But the price will come down. Okay, the price is going to go up, sorry. The yield's going to come down because there's more people joining the network, right? So first you entice people with a bit of green candles and maybe like a 20% APY. And then, in 6 months, there's a bit more people. Now you drop it down to 19 and then 18 and 17 as more people come in. Okay, and this is going to take years because this man, he knows how to spend money, man. He knows how to spend money. He wouldn't pay for his own freaking sandwich. He got Dr. Hexologist to pay for it. Okay. Have you seen that guy suck off his microphone? All right. He's sucking off microphones on the webcam for money. And Ricardo, rumored billionaire, makes him pay for his sandwich. This is the state we're in. But this is the guy you want to manage your money. Okay. This is it. This is a dude. He's going to make everyone work for every single dollar. And that's okay. You say, hey, aren't I entitled to that dollar too? You might say that. Well, no, it doesn't matter. Because the real dollar that's actually going to impact you is the people outside the ecosystem who are not in yet. When they come in, they're going to be buying our bags. They put fresh money into the pool and they don't wait. Okay, that's what happens. And what I mean by that is they go to app.pulsex.com after bridging in and they just go FOMO buy our bags. That's exactly what that means. Okay, you put all this together and you create long-term PulseChain believers. This is what's going on. And because you're a baby doll baby cake, I have already set this up to show you specifically what that means. So INC, okay, so here we are, okay, so we can have a look. This is Rick Hard right up here, and he's got the INC, okay, so here we are with our coins, and I'm going to have a representative of a poopy coin, okay, so you're just going to have a poopy fiat. It's going to be money, okay, money right here. We're going to have some cash here, okay, poopy fiat. So this INC is going to be handed out to people, okay? And we're going to have some people here. We're just going to have people, right? Okay, we're going to have some people here. And this is where it takes some balls when you think about it, because you're handing out free money, but you got to make people work for it. So you really got to have faith that the game theory works. Now, I know this dude, he can probably speak to you and say, hey, I got 19 examples where what I'm doing has been done before. I can manipulate humans, or better not use that word. I can groom people to act in the way I want them to act, right? Which is long-term believing, etc., right? I'm using that word tongue-in-cheek because really, everyone's manipulating everyone, really. I mean, Bitcoin laser eyes, etc., etc. It's the same thing, friends, just a different format. Okay, so INC is handing out, and we have the little arrows like, wow, all the INC is handing out. Now, it's up to these people, okay? What are they going to buy with the treasury? Because there is $670 million sitting in here, okay? $670 million with this INC. So, don't forget, the alternative to this, okay, which won't work, is you just get that $670 million, you go, that's it, I'm market buying Hex. But what does that do? That rewards everybody who just held for that one day, right? That is not sustainable long term. You can't just reward everybody who got in yesterday with like a 4,500x and the price will spike up to the moon and then everybody just dumps it down, right? And then no one's left with anything because all the people are gone. You don't want that, okay? Because if you got to make people wait to value stuff, yeah? They got to sacrifice their time, okay? So this is how the game works. This is how everything works. It's how assets work. You sacrifice your time, you value it more. So now the game is, where is the money going to go? Now, as I've just shown to you, this is the flow of it. Okay, now I know in my heart, all these people are going to be rotating into all these coins. There are going to be some poopy heads here. I'm actually going to have to draw someone who is representative of a poopy himself. This poopy person is going to be buying poopy fiat money trash. He's going to be doing that. And I know some of you people out there, so fiat money. Stable coins, right? So effectively, the treasury, yes, we have to bribe some of these people, but we don't know who is a good baby doll and who is a scum non-believer. You never know that in your system. So the game theory is, how can we separate them? Well, now you know why, right? If INC has this mystery feature where over time, if you hold more INC, you are entitled to a higher yield. That is one mechanism you can do it. Maybe he's got some other smarter mechanism to do it, but you can kind of see this makes sense how it happens. So now that you see this whole web and how everything is working together, you can see why and I'm telling you, when we have a big fat crash, which we will, like every other coin, because everything's going to drop 80%, maybe not from now, like maybe PulseX goes up 20x with Pulse, and then they drop 80%. Right? 20x from sacrifice price. They drop 80%. Now you're only up 4x. When that happens, there will be disgusting violence. I want you to know none of what you hear, none of those big scum shark whales who may or may not, want to leave and paper hand sell the low, none of them change any of this, right? This whole ecosystem is still strong, okay? It is a beating or a pulsing heart, if you will, okay? I know this looks like a giant, but not say it, but you know what I mean, okay? This whole ecosystem, this bubble, is going to be sustained. We have this, all right? Those people who want to leave, let them leave. They can do the damage, okay? So this is what you need, because at the end of the day, when candles start going up, you're going to tell me, shut up, they're going to keep going higher. And I applaud you. Cheer them on, okay? But when the candles start going anti-up, otherwise known as down, and they are anti-green, otherwise known as red, you're going to lose conviction. All right, but now you know what might be the plan. This is how I see it playing, okay? Maybe none of this works. I don't really care. All I know is there's a plan. I have way more faith in this than, say, holding many other fake DeFi coins, useless governance. There's no treasury. Uniswap, for example, makes $1 billion a day, still haven't turned on the fee switch. You get nothing as a holder. There's nothing. There's no yield. They've made a lot of money. There was so many rumors of the founders cashing out like billions, insane. It's just disgusting. What do? It's just a useless governance token. You can't vote on anything. All the VC insiders got it. Whoop-de-doo. I like this ecosystem. There's something here for everybody. There's poop for the poop lovers, right? I know some of you into that. And the long-term believers, maybe you like some pulse sex. Maybe you get a bit frisky, Maybe you like some Hex on Ethereum. You're a bit old school, right? Maybe you're rough around the edges. You don't shave, okay? Maybe you like the new kid on the block. Hex on PulseChain. It's a new token, okay? It's a bit cheaper. Maybe you like PLS, okay? Because you like the logo. Something here for everyone. This is why I'm bullish. That's why my targets are high. I won't be surprised I hope my targets get blown up to the top, okay? I wish I could do this for every other coin, but you can't. Because most of them are absolute kabooshed poop, okay? They are just like this little poopy fiat, right? So I like this. I love this. You should too. I hope you've learned something today. Please, baby dolls, like, subscribe, bell button, or don't forget who loves you. And you're going to tell mum and dad you love them too. I salute you, friends.